I'm Angie Gonzalez with the New York 1 Minute. The sheriff's office in Albany addresses the new criminal complaint against Governor Cuomo. It's from a former aide who claims that the governor groped her. The sheriff's office today saying the investigation will be comprehensive. All this after Cuomo's legal team pushed back Friday against the allegation, as well as others laid out in the state attorney general's report. Meanwhile, in Manhattan, a group gathers to show their support for the governor. The U.S. is now averaging more than 100,000 new COVID-19 infections a day, and that's a milestone the country hasn't seen in months. Experts say it's because of the Delta variant. In Brooklyn, police are looking for a gunman who shot and killed a man and injured a teenager. It happened near a NYCHA complex in Brownsville. And the city reaches a tentative agreement with unions representing FDNY EMS workers, and it includes a pay raise. More on our top stories in just a moment, but first, a look at the forecast. Spotty showers are expected for tonight with overcast skies. Lows are going to drop into the low 70s. As we take a look ahead, an overall quiet weather pattern takes shape across the city. A stray storm is possible on Sunday, but the bigger story is going to be the building heat and humidity as highs reach the 90s by Tuesday. Your next weather check comes in just 10 minutes. A man is dead and a young woman now hospitalized after shots ring out near a NYCHA complex in Brooklyn. It happened overnight outside of the City Housing Authority's Ralph Avenue Rehab on East New York Avenue in Brownsville. Police found a 32-year-old man unconscious with a gunshot wound to the chest. He was taken to Kings County Hospital where he was pronounced dead. An 18-year-old was also shot in the arm and was taken to the hospital in stable condition. Investigators say that she was just a bystander. Neighbors tell us that violence is unfortunately not surprising.
It's always a sad thing to see, to know that the young people are shooting at one another, killing one another. It's been happening in the neighborhood. Because I don't know why it's happening, but very often it happens.
It's sad, but this happens all the time in this neighborhood.
No arrests have been made, and a motive in the shooting is still unclear. Some residents in Queens woke up to find their car tires slashed on Saturday. Witnesses in Elmhurst tell New York 1 that they actually saw a young person wearing checkered shorts and a black shirt using a knife to pop the tires of more than a dozen vehicles. Now, this happened in front of St. Bart's Parish on Ithaca Street.
Couldn't react because for me Elmhurst is a safety neighborhood. I've always felt secure in this area, and looking at that person doing that, I was like, where I'm living, there is no security anymore.
Now, we have reached out to the NYPD, who say that they have no information at this time about these cases, but they are looking into it. The NYPD says that it was a matter of being in the right place at the right time for two officers who jumped into action to save a 5-month-old baby in Brooklyn who suddenly stopped breathing. Now, this is police body cam video of officers helping the infant. Police were investigating a burglary when someone flagged them down about a father holding an unconscious baby. They immediately performed CPR on the infant and then rushed him to the hospital. This happened on Wednesday morning on Willoughby Street in downtown Brooklyn. The baby remains hospitalized but is expected to make a full recovery. FDNY EMS workers are likely about to get a pay raise thanks to a new tentative contract agreement that the unions have reached with the city. Now, that agreement is going to raise wages for about 4,500 FDNY employees like EMTs, paramedics, and EMS lieutenants, as well as captains. It also includes a 6% pay raise for EMS workers who are trained to respond to mental health calls. The deal comes after months of negotiations and is part of the city's pilot program to reduce the NYPD's role in responding to these types of emergencies. The unions say that the agreement will also improve recruitment and retention, which includes a 6-month contract extension. EMS workers declined to participate in that recent ticker tape parade for essential workers last month, citing low pay. The Albany County Sheriff's Office says that Governor Cuomo could face misdemeanor charges if investigators substantiate a criminal complaint accusing the governor of groping an aide last year. Now, during a press conference, Craig Apple said that he could not, quote, get into the nature of the allegations, end quote, but we do know that the complaint was made by a woman known as Executive Assistant Number 1 in the state attorney general's report. She has accused Cuomo of groping her in the executive mansion in Albany, where the governor lives.
She filed a formal report alleging criminal conduct against the governor. The conduct was sexual in nature. The meeting, at that point, commences the investigative process for the Albany County Sheriff's Office. It's premature for me to answer that regarding questioning him, but obviously, yes, it could lead to an arrest.
On Friday, Governor Cuomo's legal team refuted the specific complaint, saying that the timeline proves that the assault could not have happened on the day that the assistant claimed. However, the assistant has said that she can't be sure of the date in which the alleged misconduct occurred. Meanwhile, Attorney General Letitia James said in a statement that her office would cooperate fully with the Albany sheriff and turn over all evidence related to this complaint. The report released by James's office this week found the governor had sexually harassed 11 women and violated both federal and state law. As the governor fights for his political future, his personal attorney, Rita Glavin, is continuing to push back against the report, again saying there are discrepancies.
We have a report that's not accurate, that did not go through all of the evidence. This was no Mueller investigation. No one is saying that all 11 of these women are lying. The executive assistant number 1, he did not grope her. He did not grope her, and there was evidence that was provided by several individuals to the Attorney General about potential motives for her to have made that claim. I'm not going to get into that now, but none of that was included in the report.
Glavin went on to say that the governor will personally address the situation soon. Meanwhile, a rally was held today in support of the governor outside of his Manhattan office. There were about 20 participants, many of whom were women. We asked them why they're throwing their support behind the governor.
My job every day of my life is to protect the rights of human beings. And in doing that, it will include the governor. Okay, it would include him as a human being, not necessarily as a politician.
She said, yeah, he invited me to the hotel. He opened the door and the room was dark. Listen, if I am a woman, if I see that the room is dark, how am I going to go in? I am not going in.
Now, the women carried signs that said, "We stand with Governor Cuomo," and "I support Governor Cuomo." The U.S. Senate is now one step closer to passing a $1 trillion infrastructure bill. Democrats and Republicans gathered for a rare Saturday session to clear a key procedural vote. The Senate voted 67-27 to overcome the filibuster and to end the debate on the massive bill, allowing for a final vote by the Senate in the coming days. The top Senate Republican, Mitch McConnell, was among those voting yes. The proposal includes funding for roads, public transit, broadband internet access, drinking water, and other programs. If approved, the bill would then go on to the House. The U.S. is now averaging more than 100,000 new COVID-19 infections a day, meaning that we've now returned to a milestone not seen since last February. It's another reminder of just how quickly the Delta variant is spreading throughout the country. After peaking at 250,000 cases a day in early January, the U.S. went to averaging about 11,000 cases a day in late June. The 7-day average for daily new deaths has also increased. Now, this is according to data from Johns Hopkins University, who's been tracking those numbers throughout the pandemic. Now, it rose over the past 2 weeks from about 270 deaths per day to nearly 500 a day as of Friday. The city is preparing to install protected bike lanes in one Manhattan neighborhood where parking remains a big issue. Through the Vision Zero initiative, the city is going to be installing bike lanes along Avenue C from Houston to East 18th Street on the Lower East Side. Now, we spoke to some bicyclists who say that they support the measure, but some other residents say that there are already issues finding parking because of outdoor dining structures and that these lanes would only make things worse.
It's so tough to get parking now. Like, you may have to wait
sometimes a couple of hours and drive all over the place. Somebody who lives here may be parking in Delancey just trying to find parking.
More bike lanes is better than less bike lanes. So, I mean, the city's historically been centered and organized around cars. So anything that will make the city more friendly to renewable energies and bicyclists, I think is a good thing.
The Department of Transportation says that it is hopeful that by doing this for bicyclists, that they're going to be moving vehicles away from cyclists and hopefully reduce the conflict between pedestrians, cars, and trucks. Hundreds of thousands of Americans have already died from COVID-19, and that means the lives of even more family and friends have changed forever. As part of a national day of action, New Yorkers clad in yellow march in remembrance of the lives lost, and among them, advocates and supporters as well. New York One's Victoria Manna has the story. The city is preparing to install protected bike lanes in one Manhattan neighborhood where parking remains a big issue. Through the Vision Zero initiative, the city is going to be installing bike lanes along Avenue C from Houston to East 18th Street on the Lower East Side. Now, we spoke to some bicyclists who say that they support the measure, but some other residents say that there are already issues finding parking because of outdoor dining structures and that these lanes would only make things worse.
It's so tough to get parking now. Like, you may have to wait sometimes a couple of hours and drive all over the place. Somebody who lives here may be parking in Delancey just trying to find parking.
More bike lanes is better than less bike lanes. So, I mean, the city's historically been centered and organized around cars. So anything that will make the city more friendly to renewable energies and bicyclists, I think is a good thing.
The Department of Transportation says that it is hopeful that by doing this for bicyclists, that they're going to be moving vehicles away from cyclists and hopefully reduce the conflict between pedestrians, cars, and trucks. On the second to last day of the Olympics, the U.S. picks up 5 more gold medals. The men's basketball team beat France 87-82 in the finals. Net star Kevin Durant led the U.S. with 29 points. The women's 4x400 relay team won gold, giving Allison Felix her 11th career medal, the most of any American woman in track. The men's 4x400 relay team also took gold, the first gold in track for the U.S. Nelly Korda won the women's golf tournament by 1 stroke, giving the U.S. a sweep of the golf gold medals. The women's water polo team crushed Spain 14-5 to win their 3rd straight gold medal. But the baseball team has to settle for silver after losing the gold in a gold medal game 2-0 to Japan. The U.S. equestrian team also won silver, finishing just behind Sweden. Bruce Springsteen's daughter, Jessica, is actually a member of the U.S. team. The U.S. has a chance to win 4 more golds on the final day. The women's basketball team plays Japan tonight at 10:30. The women's volleyball team takes on Brazil at 12:30 on Sunday morning. And 2 U.S. boxers have made it to the finals. Those bouts are going to take place early on Sunday morning. The United States continues to dominate the overall medal count with 108, 21 ahead of second place China. But China still leads the U.S. in gold medals, 38-36. Up next here on New York One, the Mets are in Philadelphia trying to etch their way back into first place, while the Yankees keep the momentum going while they host the Mariners at the stadium. Details after this break.